Tegan scratched her scalp and yawned as she emerged from her tent. The weather, it had to be said, was completely perfect. The grass was soft under her bare feet, and the air had no chill, but neither did it have the sense that the day would become oppressively hot. When she reached the fire pit, it took her a moment to determine what was different. She looked around with a frown. Behind her was her tent, deep blue with a golden T embroidered on the tent flap. Across the fire pit from her was Jamie's tent, red and gold with a golden J. Ben's tent was gone. She looked at where it had stood. The grass wasn't even tamped down anymore, and it was simply gone. And so was he. She sat on one of the cushions around the fire pit. Unexpectedly, she felt sad. He was a part of the real world, not something she could have made up in her head. He had sacrificed himself to save Jamie once. Also, he had been in the game longer than they had, and she wasn't entirely sure how well they would do on their own. "Are you okay?" Prima asked. Tegan looked up. "Yes, but I'm a little worried about doing this on our own." Silence followed her admission. "What?" "I don't want to make things worse." "No, you might as well say whatever it is. I'll only spend time thinking about it if you don't." "Huh. Well, you said you were worried about doing this on our own, but much of this will need to be you and only you. Jamie can come with you. It's good that he is here. But only you can do the work to wake up as you've been doing so far." She stared at her hands for a moment before she phased out of the world briefly to the sleeping world where she could summon things, and returned with a cup of cocoa. She sipped it as she thought. "I'm less worried about that," she said finally, "than about all the things like us showing up in that tavern and people planning to rob us. We've never been on our own before, and now we're not only on our own, we're on our own in a world that doesn't have any rules. Any person we run into could be a murderer or a demon, and it's not like we can call 911. "Ah." Prima sounded thoughtful. "I hadn't considered that." "Yeah." She drained her mug of hot cocoa. "I'm going back to the void. Do you want anything?" She stopped. "Right. You don't eat things." "It was very nice of you to ask," the AI said. "It is strange. I would think that logically I would be annoyed that you had forgotten an aspect of my existence. However, I find that I am happy. I do not know why." Tegan smiled up at her, then looked across the fire pit as Jamie pushed aside the tent flap and emerged. His hair was, as usual, sticking up at crazy angles. Like her, he had been yawning, and only brightened when he saw the empty mug in her hands. "There's cocoa?" "I'll get you some," she said. A low table appeared before she could do so, loaded with a chocolate pot, a pile of pastries, and vats of scrambled eggs and bacon. "I make the meals," Prima said plaintively. Sorry. She filled a plate and dug in with a happy sigh. "Oh, perfect bacon, by the way." "Thank you." The AI sounded mollified. "You should try one of the raspberry things," Jamie told his sister from around a mouthful of pastry. "It's almost too tart for me, so it should be perfect for you." "Awesome." She snagged one. "So, Prima, you told us we were looking for a key." "Yes, I did tell you that." "Were you lying?" "No, I simply sensed that you were about to ask me how to find it, and that is up to you." She groaned. So we have to discover where we are, and how to get to where we need to go? And crap, where we need to go. And what if we don't guess right?" "We climbed the wrong mountain," her twin said, his words muffled by eggs. "Exactly." She looked meaningfully at him. When he said nothing, she asked, "That doesn't worry you?" "Then we decide which is the correct mountain and go to that one, right?" He shrugged. "Extra mountain climbing." "I hadn't thought of it that way." Tegan stared at him as she considered it. "If we make a mistake, we simply correct it." "Huh." "I'm glad you're both here," Prima said. "Aw, that's sweet." Jamie smiled. "Wait for it," his sister cautioned. "Jamie helps when Tegan paints herself into a made-up corner, and Tegan helps when Jamie rushes in like a moron with no plan." "There it is," she said. "Hey," he held a finger up. "We both do both of those things."